Hi there. Here I am at a very comfortable hotel room in Galveston, Texas, where I've been resting for the last 5 days. About 2 weeks ago, I had an extreme medical emergency, and I've been trying to make this video to share the whole story with you, but I can't do it in any reasonable length of time and give you all the details. So I'm going to have to really go big picture and share with you the essence of the story. The night that this occurred, I had finally found for the first time a beautiful camping spot in Texas. For the first time in Texas, I found a beautiful open field with trees surrounding it behind an abandoned house, and set up my tent behind a beautiful pine tree. And I had been feeling that day at the peak height of joy and love. I felt love for everyone, and I felt love coming at me from everyone, and I felt in a great, great, deep place of peace, which contrasted what was about to occur. What happened came over me extraordinarily quickly, like that. I suddenly became seriously ill. So fast and so extreme that I believed at that time that I was about to die. And I believe there was some justification for that. But I also want to say that I think that the poison really affected my ability to think straight. But what had happened is I had eaten some strawberries that had pesticides on them, and I became poisoned by that. When this happened, the extremity of the experience physically, it happened so fast and so extreme. I looked around at where I was at, and I said, this is a beautiful place to die. I honestly believed that I was dying, and I thought, this is a good day to die, and this is a fine way to end my life. Now, this was thinking from here. This was not from here. I thought that I was in peace, and that in peace I had decided that this was fine with me, that I was dying and I was going to let it ride. I was not going to go to the hospital because I wanted to die there and not in a hospital. That night I had quite a extreme experience. I did have a near-death experience. I was speaking with people who had died before me. It was a very interesting experience. I was looking down at my body and discussing the state of the affairs with Phoenix as a third person. So I was saying, is she dying? Really, what's going on? And what should I do? And it was a very extreme night. And I was in extraordinary pain from head to toe. And it felt as if an elephant was sitting on my chest. I couldn't breathe and I couldn't move. And I was laying there in pain beyond description. And I know that pain is a doorway. From my experience, pain is a doorway to transcendence. And I was laying there experiencing this pain, going in and out of conscious awareness of my body. When I would come into awareness of my body, I would think, damn, this dying thing is taking forever. Which, even at the time as I was thinking that, I thought it was pretty funny. I could hear my heart beating very, very loudly in my head, and as I would slip out of consciousness, I would envision 4 tribal elders sitting around a large kettle drum, and they were drumming for me. And I knew that they were drumming for me, but I didn't know why. I didn't see it as, well, they were trying to keep me alive, or they were welcoming me to the other side. I just saw, oh, they're drumming for me. And it was keeping beat with my heart. The next morning, I actually woke up, and I was still alive. And then it occurred to me that I was very, very sick, and I needed to get help. but I wasn't thinking clearly, and it took a while for me to realize that I needed to call 911. I did. I was taken to a hospital by ambulance, and I had thought I was having a heart attack, and that was ruled out, and I chose not to be admitted to the hospital because of the financial constraints. I have Medicare. It pays 80%, but it doesn't cover enough for a hospital stay. I couldn't find a cheap hotel anywhere within miles, and I did have help to find a hotel, but I couldn't roam too far from where I was at. I ended up in a very expensive hotel that was nowhere near anything, and I spent days just lying in bed, and all I had access to was basically water. And I just laid there and drank copious amounts of water, trying to flush out my system, but I was very, very sick. And what happened is I watched my mind. My mind became completely unmoored. It was like a hockey puck on ice. It was all over the place. And it was painful thoughts. It was frightened thoughts. It was not peace. It was not joy. It was not love. It was all over the place. The good news about that is that even as I watched this happen, I didn't identify with my thoughts. I knew that these were just thoughts and that they weren't valid, they weren't real, because they weren't loving, they weren't filled with joy, and then therefore based in fear, and fear is unnecessary and, in my experience, absolutely irrelevant, illegitimate. It's not something I need to buy into. And I didn't, and I'm proud of myself about that, but I really saw that I was not in control in this situation of my thoughts. I eventually had to move to another hotel, and that hotel was near a store, and I started to juice, and I thought, okay, I'm getting better, I'm going to walk. Mainly what was driving me at that time was that I didn't have any more money. I had blown through, in about a week, I had blown through about $1,400, I believe, at that time. And while I had some help, it wasn't enough. I didn't have enough money to continue paying for hotel rooms. So, not thinking clearly, again, based upon how I felt, I began to walk. And I was unable to go even a mile. I was in horrible pain and weak, just completely weak. And because I have never, since a year ago, since I had my full health return and all that energy return, I had never felt this bad. It triggered something in me. I became terribly frightened and sad, and I began to cry about what I felt was the loss of my health. Again, I do believe that the poison was affecting me. In the mind-body connection, when your body is sick, your mind is not strong. When your mind is focused on fear, you will make your body sick. And this is just true. I know it because I have learned to heal by changing my thoughts. But in this situation, my thoughts were not focused. I was not in control of my thoughts. And I basically just sat down and began to cry because I felt that I had had a year of health at that point, and I felt that it was over. And I believed that. And again, I think that my beliefs in these situations, my thoughts, my beliefs, informed my experience significantly and created suffering for me and made it more difficult for me to take care of myself, which was what I needed to do. I called around and I found help. I was taken to another hotel, and this wonderful person who helped me paid for me to stay there for another couple of days. But again, it was nowhere near any place where I could get anything to heal myself. And I was in extreme kidney pain. My kidneys were just, I couldn't barely walk from the kidney pain as they were trying to process out the poison in my system. Eventually, I got more help and was able to move here to Galveston, where I've been right next to a supermarket that has had organic produce and supplements, and I've been juicing and supplementing, and I feel a lot better. As I've laid here through this whole process, feelings have been coming up in response to the thoughts, but also, I believe, a releasing, a healing. When you heal your body, oftentimes there are emotions that are blocked, that have to come out. And I've been doing an enormous amount of healing work, and it has been emotionally extraordinarily painful, and yet essential. And I get that. I realize I have been forced to face the things that have been between me and peace, between me and a true depth of peace. I have been destroyed in a way. I went from feeling like Hercules. I went from feeling like infinite love in complete power to physical, mental, and emotional destruction. And I know from experience that destruction is actually the gift. It is the doorway, it is the method for rebirth, a stronger, better recreation. It always begins with destruction. So I know that what is happening is an extraordinary gift to me, that I am deeply grateful for it, even as I struggle to do it. I had felt so strong, and in this 2 weeks, I have felt very weak on every level, physically, on every level. And it has given me the opportunity to feel these feelings, to face the areas that I need to deepen my peace. And I'm continue to do that work. I'm getting ready to leave tomorrow, and I'm not done with the work on any level. I am not physically healed. The poison that I ate destroyed my digestive system. I feel it, and I cannot yet eat without pain, without difficulty. And without being able to eat, it'll be very difficult to walk. I feel very weak and just not well. However, I don't know what else to do but begin walking and hope that this will heal me, as it has in so many other levels. And that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to walk as quietly, as slowly, and as gently as I can, and try to come to a deeper level of healing from that. Now, in this whole journey, from the very beginning, I have never for once doubted that I could do this. It never crossed my mind. Other people have, but not ever for me. This experience has caused a great deal of doubt, because I believe it really has triggered me, because I feel so sick, and I have not felt this sick since I was seriously ill. And that brought up this fear of being seriously ill. Now, anything that I fear is a barrier to peace. What you fear will haunt you. I need to come to a place, I'm working on coming to a place where even if I am seriously ill again, I can be at deep peace. And I believe that night that I chose to die, rather than go to the hospital, while I thought that I was doing it because I was at peace, that was not a wise decision. That was not a self-loving decision. It was a self-destructive decision. And I believe that it was based on a deep-rooted fear of being sick again. I need to face this fear. I need to come to a place where I can say, even if I'm sick again, I can have peace, and I'm going to continue on this journey of self-love, love for others, and peace within myself, faith and peace. So for the first time, I don't know, honestly, if I can continue. I do not know. And I'm going to try. I will start walking tomorrow and see how far I get and try to be as gentle with myself as possible to honor what has happened over the last 2 weeks. I feel like I'm starting over from nothing. And I know I know from experience that this is an incredible opportunity. When you start over from nothing, you can build anything. So here I go, continuing to walk, and possibly I'll be able to walk it off. Possibly. I don't know. All I know is that there is nothing else that I am so driven to do than to continue this journey of love, of faith, and of peace. And because I know nothing else, I am going to do what I know. I am going to keep walking. I appreciate your patience in waiting for this update. I'm sorry that it's so long. It's been quite an intense couple of weeks for me. And I appreciate your support and all the help that you have given me and all the prayers and all the love. It is essential. And I am deeply, deeply grateful. So, I'll update you tomorrow, hopefully, at the end of a successful day. Now, I only have about 9 miles to go to a park on the other side of the bay here. I have to take a ferry, and that cuts out 3 miles. So I won't be walking that. It should be cold, but I have plenty of warm clothing. And I'm going to start out early so that I will have plenty of time, even if I have to walk very, very slowly. I really hope I can do this. And if I can't do this, I'll cross that bridge when I arrive at it. Namaste. Thank you for joining me in this journey. I honor the divinity within you, and I thank you for reflecting my divinity to me.